Hello friends, today we're doing something that I think all of us need to do, including you, so maybe take this as your sign from the universe that it is time to get to your book subscription books. I made it a goal last year and I'm making it a goal this year to actually read my book subscription books, and I have been quite good at it over the last year, but you know, they've been stacking up. There are some I haven't gotten to, and then I happen to live near a lot of used bookstores and I'll buy used books that are book of the month books, and then I forget which ones were my subscription, which ones are ones that I picked up used, so they all kind of mix together. And in today's video, we're going to be reading a variety. One that's new, that just came in the mail, one that's been on my TBR for quite some time, and one that I'm pretty sure I got used. Not 1000% sure, but you know. So these are the 3 books we're going to read, and I do have my book of the month link down below if you want to sign up. Additionally, I don't know when this is going up. You know, one great thing about Bookmas is I knew exactly when I was filming that it was going to be up in a couple of days. If it is still January, this is our January book club pick. So there's that. But we are going to be reading in this video. This book's quite short and it has so many, it's like 270 pages and has like 50 something chapters. I'm thrilled about that. But this is Before I Forget by Tory Henwood Hoen, and this is about a girl named Cricket, and she's having, her life is kind of feeling upside down. She's not feeling great about herself. Her life kind of feels adrift, and she's found out her father has Alzheimer's. She moves home to help take care of him because her sister says it's time to move him into a memory care facility, and she's like, fear not, I will come home and care for him. So she does that, and as his memory starts to fade, he kind of becomes like the town oracle and can predict the future. Sounds very intriguing. Then we have this one. This one I did get used because my friend Madison told me she really liked this book, and then I found it used and picked it up. But this is about our main character, Gemma, and Gemma and her long-term boyfriend break up. She goes to have, like, get drunk with her sister, her aunt, and her male best friend, Dax. It's her kooky aunt, and they decide they're going to do this spell to help her forget about her ex. They do all these things, and it ends with a platonic kiss between her and Dax. In the morning, she wakes up realizing that the spell worked too well. She doesn't have, like, her relationship with her ex never even happened, but on the flip side, her friend Dax doesn't know who she is. So she spends the book trying to repair their friendship and have him remember and get him to kiss her, because that is how they break the spell, but along the way she starts falling for him. And then we have got the Griffin Sisters Greatest Hits by Jennifer Weiner. I know this author has a lot of books, and this will be my first one by her, so I'm excited to see if I like her writing. But this is about these 2 sisters, Zoe and Cassie. They were in a band called the Griffin Sisters, and at the peak of their career, they just broke up. It is decades later, and Zoe is a housewife. Cassie is off the grid. Zoe has a daughter named Cherry, and it's about these Cherry, Zoe, and Cassie trying to, like, secrets are gonna emerge and see, like, if they can ever make music again. I don't really know. I love a story about sisters, though, so I'm quite looking forward to it. Let's go get into it. I have no idea where we're gonna start, but we'll start somewhere. Just wanted to let you guys know that this is where we are starting in this video. This is going to be my physical read. I think I'm going to annotate it. I pulled out some pink highlighter and tabs and a pen. Well, it's a black pen, but I think I'm going to annotate this bad boy. It is mid-January and I need to get this read for my book club, so I'm gonna start this maybe tonight. It should be really short chapters. There's like almost 50 chapters and the book's under 300 pages, so that's exciting. But I will come at you guys when I have an update. Before I Forget, and I'm not far enough into it. I'm only like 60 pages in to really update you guys, but I'm about 40% through the audio of the Griffin Sisters Greatest Hits. This is super fun. Dakota Fanning is actually the audio narrator. I don't understand. This book is not that long. It's 350 pages, 360. The audio is like 13 or 14, some crazy amount of hours long. But in this book, we have got our two sisters, Zoe and Cassie. Growing up, Zoe was kind of like popular, pretty, olive, very like Regina George type of energy. Whereas Cassie, there is a lot of emphasis on her being overweight, which I don't like, but I think there will be like a point to it. Cassie was like, they describe like how she wears her hair, like she takes a shower, washes her hair, puts it in a bun, and then just goes to sleep. So her hair is very like ratty, and she doesn't dress cute, and she doesn't really take care of herself. So backtrack, their mom had Zoe, was trying to have Zoe, has her, and then she accidentally gets pregnant with Cassie while she's still breastfeeding Zoe, like they're Irish twins or whatever you call that. And so she's kind of always resented Cassie her whole life, like has like been very like vocal about like literally loving her less, which is kind of crazy. And she was not an easy baby like Zoe. And then as she's in school, she's having a lot of issues in school, and one day the teacher calls her to like ask them like, oh, when did Cassie start playing piano? She's 4 years old. She's like, she doesn't play piano. She's like, okay, well, like the music teacher played a song today, and then during like free play, instead of playing with everybody, she went and just played the song on the piano like she knew how. So she's this music protege. So time passes, the girls are in high school and they're doing like a talent show type thing, and Zoe gets kicked out of her friend's band. She begs her sister to perform with her, and that is how they get discovered. So this is past present timeline. So in the past, we're just getting to the point of them being signed by the record deal. Present time, we are following Cassie's storyline, and she has a daughter named Cherry as well as 2 boys, and she has a stepson who he's literally a creep, and another son with her new husband. And her daughter Cherry, she doesn't ever talk. Cherry knows like who her mom is within the music industry, but she won't talk to her about it. She doesn't support Cherry wanting to be in music. So Cherry's kind of on the run currently on like a American Idol type, America's Got Talent type show, trying to become a famous singer. Where we're at right now, her mom just realized she's not there because school called, and it's like she hasn't been here in days. Why she hasn't realized sooner, I don't know. And simultaneously, they live in Alaska now. She was at the grocery store, and long story short, she was roped into singing happy birthday for somebody. They recorded it, it went viral, and they've been all basically off the grid since the band broke up. And now people are finding out she's still around. So that's where we're at. I am enjoying it so far. It's definitely one of those books. There's another book of the month book that I read called The House of the Circus, I believe. And it like took me a minute to get into it, but then once I got into the story, I really enjoyed it. And that is kind of like the same vibes I'm getting with this one, which is good because where I'm at right now, I'm really starting to get invested in the story. I just want you guys to know I spoke wrong. Cassie lives in Alaska and Zoe is Cherry's mom. I don't know. It's been a rough week mentally, but I wanted to update y'all on that. Lots of updates. Oh my god, my pimple patch matches. For our reading in life, we have finished the Griffin Sisters Greatest Hits, and I did end up giving this book 4 stars. This is the kind of story I really, really like. Though the books were not necessarily similar, I have the same thoughts and feelings as I did while reading this book, Home of the American Circus by Allison Larkin. So if you liked this book, I think you would like this. The vibes just feel similar. Stories, not similar at all. But I really, really loved the second half of this book. I liked the second half so much more than the first half. I was reading my friend Madison's review, and she gave this book 3 stars because she hated so many of the characters, and she said in her review that she spent a lot of the book being mad and pissed off at the characters, which I totally understand that. For me, that worked. It felt like that was the author's intention to me. And so I liked that aspect of like being mad at the characters, not understanding their behavior, not liking their behavior. So that was a plus for me, whereas for her, it was a drawback, which is I often don't like unlikable characters, but I just loved Cassie so much. And I really loved Zoe's daughter, Cherry, so much. But I hated Zoe. And I hated Zoe and Cassie's mom. I think her name was Janet. Horrible parents. Absolutely horrible. Like, Janet, the fact that she, like, so, like, openly made Cassie feel unloved and unwanted and did not try to be there for her when she was going through different struggles was pathetic, in my opinion. And then Zoe's behavior of, like, one of the musicians in the band, she liked him, or Cassie and him kind of, like, had a thing. She didn't think that anybody should like Cassie. She was pissed that she wasn't getting all the attention, and really, without Cassie, there would be no band because her talent was mediocre. But she was the pretty one, and Cassie was the talented one, and she was very resentful of Cassie, and she hated that she had such a big following. Cassie had this really big following of girls who were not, like, the, like, stereotypical Sydney Sweeney beautiful in their own right, but, like, not bombshell. And so she had this huge fan base, and Zoe was always so jealous of her. So what does Zoe do? She goes and seduces the guy that her sister likes, essentially throws herself on him, and definitely, like, a questionable hookup, in my opinion. And then literally during an interview, she's like, oh, by the way, we're getting married. He didn't propose to her. She just decided that. And then boom, she's pregnant. Is it his baby? Who knows? Because she's out here doing all these crazy things. But she literally did all of these things to, like, get back at her sister, but then is, like, wondering why her sister quit the band and refuses to speak to her. It's, like, this whole thing. And so, and then additionally, she has a second husband, the guy from the band, no longer with him, but she has her current husband, whose son is actively a creep. Like, Peeping Tom has weird pictures of Cherry on his phone, like, oh, I hated Zoe. She was just awful. But getting to see how Cherry was able to help these sisters mend this relationship that broke their family in a lot of ways, but also really broke Cassie's spirit. Cassie has not sang in years, and it's truly, like, her voice is her gift. Just getting to see them come back together was really, really great. And I did like that this was narrated by Dakota Fanning. That was pretty cool. Then, I have been going through it, so I'm annotating, but I'm halfway through before I forget. Excuse the fact that I took the dust jacket off. If you ask me, your books that are hardcover should be able to be comfortable, should be in the nude, okay? I let them get a little naked while I read them. So this book has been really good so far. I'm really liking it. We have our main character. Her name is Cricket. Her real name is Christine. Because I was like, why is one girl's name Cricket and the other girl's name Nina? Like, that doesn't go together. Her name's Christine, but she's gone by Cricket her whole life. She has a sister named Nina, who's her older sister. They've grown up together. Their dad and mom are divorced. I hate her mom. Her mom's horrible. Growing up, her mom and dad had, like, a very interesting start to their relationship. The dad was really successful. The mom was, like, on her way to being successful, and then after having kids, lost her job, blah, 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 blah. There's this imbalance of, like, she wanted to be more powerful than she was. Eventually, the dad sold off a bunch of business, made all of this money, and the mom went back to work. And then she ends up, like, meeting somebody else and moving to Europe, whatever. So, the dad is living in their, like, lake house in upstate New York, and he has Alzheimer's. He's, like, in his 70s, and Nina has basically been his caregiver for the past couple of years. She, however, this is, like, they do talk about COVID in this. It is post-COVID. She just got her, like, doctorate or some sort of, like, medical degree, and she is moving to Stockholm. There's this one quote I do have to read to you, though. It's literally on page 3. There's an institute in Stockholm where I can jump right into the next phase of research. Unlike this country, Sweden actually funds women's health studies. Women's health? I think I've heard of it, but surely it can be complex enough to merit research, I joked. Shocking, I know, Nina said. So, she's moving to Stockholm, and they're planning on putting their dad in an assisted care facility. Cricket has kind of just been working a lot of dead-end jobs. She doesn't really know what she wants to do with her life, which is big issues with her mother. She's working for, like, this, like, super, like, hipster skincare type of company as a personal assistant, and so she takes some days off to go look at different homes with her sister and her dad. Her dad has no idea who she is, doesn't even know that Nina's her daughter, but he's nice to her. Everything's, like, fine. They go visit the homes, and it's obvious the dad does not want to move into these, but they don't really have any other choice. Cricket gets home. She meets up with her friends, her, like, situationship, and she's kind of like, you know what, like, none of this serves me. I'm quitting this life in New York City, and I'm moving to go help my dad. So that's what she does. she moves upstate, and her sister kind of shows her the ropes of everything with her dad. And once her sister goes, she's going by her sister's schedule, and she kind of decides that maybe they don't need this rigorous schedule. Maybe we're allowed to just do things that like make us happy. So they kind of start breaking routine, and she's doing things with her dad, and she starts noticing that he has these like really weird premonitions that on their own don't seem that crazy, but then like when you put them all together, they are. He makes this comment about the loons coming, like the loons haven't gotten here yet, blah, 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 when Cricket knows that the loons haven't come in years, like they just kind of stopped coming. That same day, the loons came. He'll be like, oh, we're gonna go out on the canoe later today, and she's like, nah, Dad, like it's gonna rain all day. He's like, no, later today we'll go out in the canoe. The afternoon, beautifully sunny. Have their one neighbor, I think his name is Craig, maybe? Carl, the neighbor, he was out of town doing some stuff. He's like, oh yeah, Carl's gonna stop by today, like this afternoon. And she's like, no, he's not. He's out of town till Thursday. He got home early and shows up. So that starts happening, and then we do get this past storyline of Cricket, because we find out that she has not been home to see her dad in over 10 years. We find out about a tragedy that did happen, and she hasn't been there since. It was involving this boy, Seth. And her dad keeps mentioning seeing Seth, and that Seth's coming, and things about Seth. So she eventually brings this up to Carl, as well as this woman who runs a dance studio, and they're like, oh yeah, like your dad definitely like clairvoyant in one way, shape, or form. Like, and Carl starts telling him all of these things, and they're kind of just like confirming what Cricket has been thinking, because every time she talks to Nina about it, Nina's like, no, not true. So it's been really interesting. I'm just kind of now getting to the point where we are getting into the premonitions and all of that stuff, you know? Oh, that's kind of spoilery, so I don't want to say it, but it literally did make me want to cry. But there was this one part where Paula, the dance instructor, and Carl, like, they're having Thanksgiving dinner at this diner, and she invites them to sit with them, and one thing that says in here is, I appreciate their acceptance and ease around my father, which is never a given with Alzheimer's. It's an affliction that often makes people self-conscious, worried about making a misstep, worried about others' missteps, so afraid of awkwardness that they can't help but create more of it. Isolation is often easier than trying to maintain a social life, but tonight our haphazard foursome feels manageable. More than that, it feels right. And I just think that was so sweet, but I'm really, really, really loving this. It could be a 5-star. We love to see it, but that's where we're at. I'm probably honestly not gonna read much of this tonight because I have a lot of work to do, but we'll see. We'll see where the wind takes us. Did I finish the book, or did the book finish me? That's the question. I would love to come on here and pretend I give a shit that I look horrible, but I just don't. This is TMI. I was up all night, let's just say, emptying the contents of my stomach, so I don't feel great, but I did finish this before I got sick, so there's that. And it was obviously 5 stars. I honestly didn't think it was going to be 5 stars up until probably like the last 60 pages, but y'all, continued on in the last half of this book. We really got to see Cricket and her relationship with her dad blossom. He became, you know, this oracle in their town, and he would just give like advice to people, and it was just really sweet getting to see him have some sort of purpose, getting to see him like excited about something. And like there was this quote here that says, "Why should dementia be the end of creativity? Why can't it be the starting point?" And it was like a big topic of this book, was that like just because he's going through this doesn't mean he can't still provide like joy for others and himself in life. And it was just so good. And like just really getting to see Cricket's relationship with her sister develop, getting to see her relationship with people who like she hasn't talked to in years, like childhood friends. And then like there's this other thing that I feel like is kind of spoiler that I don't want to say, but this other person comes to visit her, and just really getting to see Cricket heal so many parts of herself. Oh my god, was so good. But there was one part in this book, let me see if I can find okay, I took a picture of it on my phone so I could figure out which page, but I personally have been kind of going through it, like not believing in myself, not feeling good enough, like just very low about myself, I guess you could say. And so the whole thing is like her dad's like this oracle, and I swear to God, because like he's also able to like kind of see and communicate with people who have passed away, and I swear to God my mother was sending me messages through this book, because there was this one part that says it's not too she's talking about how like she doesn't want to go back to school because she's like 27 and she feels too old. And he says, I don't know why at the ripe, this is like her neighbor Carl, I don't know why at the ripe old age of 27 you've already given up on yourself. It's not too late. And I'd be saying that if you were 37 or 47 or 57, don't ever give up on yourself. Like I just needed that so much. And then at the end it says, don't give up on yourself, Cricket. And she says, okay, I won't give up on myself. Oh, it was just something I so deeply needed to hear. So deeply needed to hear. So overall 5 stars. I was sobbing. Also, my husband called me when I had like 20 pages left in the book. I'm sitting here sobbing. Ignored his call simply. And then I called him back after I finished my chapter, and I was like, what? I was like, I'm sobbing. I'm almost done with my book. And he was listening to his audiobook in the car. He's like, oh, that's so weird. He's like, I have 30 minutes left in my audio. And like his drive home from work is about 30 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, I'm hanging up. You go finish your book. I'll go finish my book. Leave me alone. And he's like, plan. Perfect. Love it. So 5 stars. That just leaves us with this book. This Spells Love. This will be the last book that we read for this video. Okay, friends, it is time that we finish this book of the month video. We read the Griffin Sisters Greatest Hits, which was 4 stars, Before I Forget, which was 5 stars, and now we have This Spells Love by Kate Robb. I don't really know anything about this. The reason I picked this up, I picked it up at the used bookstore. I'm gonna be honest, I know I did not get this one from Book of the Month because my friend Madison gave this a 4.5, like was obsessed with this romance, and I feel like it's harder to please than I am with romances. So if she really loved it, I'm excited to see like how I feel, because we do, I feel like romance specifically tend to agree a lot of the time. So I'm interested to see how I feel. The audiobook for this is I think only like 9 hours. I did grab a copy of the audio on Everand, and I'm gonna get to listening to this while I work today. Friends to lovers is a trope that is very, very, it's literally 3 o'clock. It's so dark in here. It is, whoa, very hit or miss for me, and this is feeling more like a miss for the Friends to Lovers. So in this book, we've got our girl Gemma, and Gemma recently just got out of a relationship with this guy named Stuart. The relationship was like fine. It was just very bland, blah, whatever. So they broke up. She's pretty upset about it. So she, her sister, her best friend Dax, his name is Daxton, which, oh my god, that name just pisses me right off. But they call him Dax. And her eccentric aunt all go to her aunt's house to kind of like get together and hang out. And her aunt's house is also like half, like the front half is like this kooky witchy bookshop. And so they go to the aunt's house to kind of help her feel better, like have like a little bestie night, whatever, talk shit about her ex till she feels better. She's drunk as shit on margaritas, okay? And so they end up finding this book that had gotten donated to the bookstore, and there is this spell to like about like forgetting the lost, like the love, blah blah blah, to basically to make her feel better, get over this guy. And so it ends with like a kiss, and so she and Dax kiss. Poof, the morning wakes up, she's living in like this alternate reality, like she lives somewhere new. Her like family knows her, but she has a whole different job. She owns a business, and Dax does not know who she is, but she keeps running into him. And they found the spell book. She's like telling her aunt and her sister. They think she's kind of lost her mind, but they're willing to help her. So they find the spell book, and she basically has to recreate the spell to like reverse it. So now she's trying to reintroduce herself and rebuild this friendship with Dax so that they can kiss and break the spell. It's fine. Nothing to really write home about so far. Like I said, it just feels okay. Nothing super exciting to me one way or the other. I'm not hating it. I'm not loving it. It is what it is. And like that, we are done. Yeah, I gave this 3 stars. It was just fine. I did like the ending and the way that things worked out. None of it was exactly how I think really anybody could have guessed. And so I did like the ending, but just overall, I don't think I'm ever going to think about this book again. And because of that, that's where a lot of my like 3 stars land. It's like, it was a good time. I'm glad I read it, but I'm just never really going to think about it again. And it's not something that's going to like be overly recommended because it's just not top of mind. But overall, I would say that this video was quite successful. I think the last time I did one of these Book of the Month videos, it was not successful. I think I had a lot of books I did not like. One thing I have learned with Book of the Month is I tend to like their fiction and romance. I mean, this is a 3 star, so it's not like that. It doesn't confirm that as much, but these were both more fiction leaning stories, and then this one was romance. But I do tend to like their fiction and romance, and where it tends to go awry for me is actually their thrillers and horror picks. I almost never pick those categories because historically those have all been books that I've ended up not being the biggest fan of from Book of the Month. So I don't, whoever's picking out their thrillers and mysteries is not doing as great of a job as whoever's picking out their fiction, in my humble opinion. But that is everything for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you have not already. Is my goal to hit 1,000 subscribers this year, and I would just really appreciate it. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.